Hello and welcome to another episode of Just Two Dads. My name is Sean Francis, and I am so thankful for the privilege, opportunity, and this platform that we have to have these great conversations. My co-host Brian Altulian is not with us here today, but we are carrying on. And as always, I am so excited about the conversation we're going to have today with our guest, who is Stacy McAlister. Welcome to another episode of Just Two Dads. Welcome again to Just Two Dads. If you're tuning in for the first time, whether you are seeing us actually or listening to the episode on podcast platforms or seeing it on our YouTube channel, either way, to everyone within the sound of my voice, we welcome you, we thank you, and we love you. We also want to thank our partner, Billy Footwear, makers of adaptable footwear for all. As you may know, the founder, Billy Price, is a gentleman who, his first week in college, had a traumatic injury, left him paralyzed. He learned how to do everything for himself with the exception of putting his shoes on. A prototype was created and Billy Footwear was created. And they've sold over 1 million shoes, helped 1 million pairs, and helped countless people. If you click on the link, which will be available in the show notes, you will get a discount on your final price. And that includes any sale prices that they may have at the time. If you or someone you know is a male who is a caregiver or dad to someone with special needs, a disability, the aged or neurodivergent, it is very rare for us to have a place to go where we can express our hopes, joys, fears, and insecurities. That place that which we've created is a men's group known as The Den. We meet bi-weekly via Zoom. The link to register will be included in the show notes as well, and registration is free of charge. Let's get right into today's show. Our guest is someone who created an organization called 511 Hoops, created it in 2015 after hosting a basketball clinic with the Brunei Special Olympics during his tenure playing there. And he discovered that the drills worked on in basketball could help a child with autism from a cognitive and physical development perspective. After the event, he began to search for a year-long programs for his son, who's on the autism spectrum, and he found that there were limited opportunities and programs. Upon returning home, 511 Hoops was created. 511 Hoops incorporates children with various life walks, with the clinics allowing families to participate. The active play is initiative and designed to help provide positive outcomes for youth and their families currently dealing with life on the spectrum. Welcome to Just Two Dads, Mr. Stacy McAlister.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Oh, sure. Fantastic. So, other than what I just said, tell us about what 511 Hoops is and exactly what you do. And thank you so much for your service and what you do for the community.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Here at 511 Hoops, what we do is provide a sports and social program for neurodivergent youth and adults. So our program, we first started with basketball, but now we've jumped into a lot of different sports and activities. We do flag football, we do soccer,
Mm,
we have music, we do STEM workshops, we have a photography class, community outings, we do summer camps, winter camps. And the main thing is really just creating a safe, inclusive space where those who are neurodivergent can come participate in any type of social recreation program, not be judged, and we have the proper support to help them navigate the program. And along with that, we do have parent support groups. That is another aspect that we're going into the mental health side, and we notice not only are our participants um, we have to create a space for them, but along with the parents are affected through this. So we want to have a safe space where they can talk and share stories with other parents and share resources and feel they are not alone in this lifelong journey that they'll be working with their child till they become an adult.
wow. That is fantastic. I'm sitting there looking at your site. And if you're actually joining us on our YouTube channel, you can actually see the site. The website is 511hoops.org. So it's the number five, the word, not the numeral, the word 11, Eleven, hoops.org. And you've got So you've got connections to, it looks like here on the site, sports league, sports leagues, arts and STEMs, social group outings. So you're doing outings also in addition to
Mm,
classes and
mhm.
parent group supports and camps also.
Yes,
Wow, I'm getting the impression, I don't know what it was you said. I don't think it was a word you said, maybe your energy or something like that. Based on that what you're doing is something that seems to be continuously growing. Is that correct?
correct. Yes.
Wow, wow, that's huge. And you've been around since you said 20, is it 2012?
2015. So I played, and I came home and I kind of like dabbled with the idea. And then a year went by, and I was doing, honestly, in the beginning, I was doing like just one-on-one training with kids. I just started with
Mm-hmm.
basketball. Then that next year, I realized, okay, let's really turn this into a nonprofit. And I had a vision of where I wanted to see it go to.
Mm-hmm.
So we just started with basketball. And as continued to grow, I realized that every participant, basketball, that's not everybody's sport.
Right.
And my goal is I'm not trying to find the next basketball star. I'm using sport as a catalyst to help them develop their cognitive skills, physical skills, social skills,
Mm-hmm.
everything that they're trying to do within their therapies, right? Um,
Right.
so I found that offering different activities, you can draw a little bit out of somebody, differently from each activity, and you find their interests, and that's something the parents can use to like, okay, that's what they're into. They may not
Mm-hmm.
have known that because would never have thought to introduce their child to this activity. So that's why I'm throwing this lately. We've been throwing out different activities because I just want to give these kids a different opportunity to find what's their thing, and it just helps them overall with development wise.
You know what I see from that, which is a microcosm of society. What I'm finding lately at this stage of life, especially, and I've seen like I have all these examples of this put in front of me, and it's the reason why we created the show too, which is what matters more than anything else, especially at a time right now when this country is so divided. What matters in the world, period, is being able to be seen and be heard, which is what
Hmm.
that's just the human condition. And as a caregiver or parent to one with special needs, that ends up meaning more to you than it will to the average person. And you also develop, if you're paying attention, a keener ear and eye for seeing and hearing others because you're trying to give that which you want for yourself and your child as well. And it just seems
Correct.
like everything you're doing is just an extension of that. So let's switch gears a little bit and talk a bit about you because the work
Hmm.
that you're doing is heroic. We always say that, the first qualification for being a superhero is thinking that you're not one, just doing what you
Hmm.
do, being who you are. And you obviously meet that qualification. But the other work is heroic on a certain level because it is a heroic thing to be of service to others. And every superhero has an origin from which the superpowers come. So let's talk about that in terms of where you come from physically, geographically, spiritually, emotionally, and all those things, because everything that we're raised with and everyone plays a role in who we become. And then in your
Hmm.
case, being a fellow parent and caregiver to a child with a disability, it also plays a role in how you respond to the day of diagnosis. So let's go back a bit and tell us a bit about you, where you come from, and how you became the person that decided to launch such a venture.
Yeah, I'm from Compton, California.
All right.
Moved there about fourth grade, but I lived in LA previously. Um, and I think a lot of who I am today stems from me. I grew up playing sports. I mean, I played every sport. Played
Mm-hmm.
basketball. I played baseball. I played football. Um, and I think I give credit to my coaches. Some of my coaches I'm still in contact with today. Um,
Excellent.
and as I reflected one day and I noticed I took a little bit of every something from each coach.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and primarily a few of my coaches like football and basketball. There's two coaches in particular, just those two programs. We had kids from inner city. I come from two-parent household, great childhood. I can't complain. parents,
Hmm.
done everything for me, supported me and
I could
everything.
tell.
I
Hmm.
I have some teammates, friends to this day. They weren't as lucky, but I seen what them coaches, what they were to those kids. They were father
Hmm.
figures. They were the older brother. They was that mentor, and it helped. I think if they weren't there, some of these that I call my brothers today, they wouldn't have been where they're at right now. And
Hmm.
I think they helped shape them and gave them that light, which has helped them into the adulthood. And these dudes are doing great things now. Some of them are coaches, some of them are fathers. Um, and I tip my hat off to them. And I think, and even college coaches, high school coaches, they did the same thing. They always drop little gems and buckets. And sports, for me, did that, instill confidence. It just helped me socially. It helps me with my network of friends and everything, and the brotherhood that I have, and just meeting different people.
Right.
So we fast forward 5'11" hoops. It's weird because I didn't think I would be doing this. That wasn't my goal.
Yeah, yeah. There's plans laid out for us that
Man,
we're not always a part of. Yeah.
yeah, I thought I was gonna play overseas basketball for a few years. I just wanted to travel the world. I didn't care about the money. I was like, I'm gonna use this to travel the world, save a little money, jump into a real
Hmm.
estate or a business, and put that on autopilot and live a life. Like just chill,
Right.
sit back. I don't need much.
Right.
But life had other plans. That senior year of college, I have a son. Um, I still embarked on that basketball journey, but in between that first season and trying to go back to my next season of playing, my son gets diagnosed with autism.
How old was
So
he?
he was two, right before he
He
turned
was
two.
two.
So
Okay. Tell us what that day of diagnosis was like.
it's your heart drops. I mean, I'm 23, well, 23, 24 years old, and you're
Hmm.
like, I didn't really know too much about autism. And you hear it and you like, seriously, and your first thing is, okay, how is it going to be for the rest of his life? But the way I am as a person, my mind quickly snapped and I said, these are the cards I'm dealt with. I can sit here and soak and be sad and cry, which I still did, don't get me wrong. But I was like,
Sure.
that's not going to help him. So
Yeah.
we got to get the ball rolling. Let's get these therapies. Let's get this early intervention. I'm doing my research and education on what I need to do at home. And it was just kind of
Yeah.
like, okay, I got to do what's best for him. I can't sit here and cry because if I'm not
Hmm.
in a good state or if I'm not doing the work, how it's not going to be good for him. So
Yeah.
it
Let me
just
ask you
really
two
put me.
things.
Mhm.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You were saying it
Oh no,
really
no, it
quickly.
just kind of put me in like overdrive. It was like, okay, this what it is, and let's get it going.
Right.
It's just another obstacle in life, and hey, you got to roll with
Yeah.
it.
Did you? Well, I have a series of questions, and if I'm not
Hmm.
careful, I'll ask you all of them at once.
Right.
I always say one of the things I'm thankful for on the show is that I've become convinced, and I'm working through it, that I have been not misdiagnosed, but miss as in MISS, like they've missed me, right?
Hmm.
Because I struggled in school for years, but anyway, that's just the way my mind processes things. But
Hmm.
tell us about what led to it. Did you suspect? Did you see or suspect developmental delays? And if you don't mind sharing, it's completely up to you.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Are you and his mom together? Were there things that she noticed that you didn't? How did that all come about?
we were together at the time, and then I mean, your babies, they have the certain milestones. Kind of what some milestones were being hit, some kind of regressed. And I remember
Right.
my mom was like, I would just go get him evaluated. I remember she said that. And I'm like, all right. I'm just like, okay. So
Hmm.
at the time, like I said, I told his mom, I was like, I think we need to check on this, not getting the eye contact, just certain milestones at the age he wasn't hitting. And
Hmm.
we took him to the regional center, got him evaluated, and that was boom. That's the diagnosis, autism.
Now this will seem odd, but how did you even know to go to a regional center? Because I will cop to the truth right here.
Hmm.
When my wife and I met, my wife had two daughters from her previous marriage. And so even though I changed diapers of cousins and stuff like that, I hadn't been a father before. And then on top of that, girls mature faster than boys. So my
Yeah.
wife noticed things that I didn't. I thought the way, I mean, if he picked his nose, I thought that was cute, right? I didn't
Hmm.
think anything was wrong at all. So, and everything that we found out in terms of therapy and that kind of stuff, my wife sort of led the charge with that. And that's how we work today. I'm out in front in terms of communication, like things like social media and this and connecting with providers and things like that, which she does as well. But in terms of here's who we need to call, here's what we need to do, she's always been that person. How did
Right.
you guys find out about the regional center? Because there's a lot of people that, whether it's
Don't
the
know.
regional
Yeah.
center or other services, we have things here in California that we have access to free of charge, but a lot of people don't know about it. How did you guys
Hmm.
even find out about the regional center?
I'm gonna be honest. It's been so long. I don't even remember, to be honest. If I was
So you're in the same
14,
boat as me. That's what I
yeah,
thought, right?
I don't even remember. I would have to ask.
Yeah.
The only thing I think I'm trying to think.
Isn't
Okay.
that something else? Because you're so
Yeah,
busy doing it, you're kind of
doing
like,
it. I
wait a
don't even
minute.
remember.
That's like I tell people the term caregiver. You hear me use that word a lot. I told you my
Hmm.
son is 19. He was diagnosed at 3. The association between my wife and I and the word caregiver, that's only about 2 or 3 years old. I just didn't see us as caregivers before. I just
Okay,
thought we were
I
being
didn't.
parents.
Parents,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah. 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 Wow. So I'm sorry. Go ahead. So you went to the regional center, you began therapy, go from there.
Yeah, so he got the diagnosis, and then that early intervention was crazy. I mean, he was doing 2 or 3 times a week. He was doing therapy like 5 hours a day. Speech
Hmm.
twice a week, OT twice
Yep.
a week. It was a lot for the little fella. I felt like he was working a 9 to 5 job.
I know,
Um,
right? Now, was it taking place at a facility at home or a combination?
the combination. So speech and OT was at a center.
Hmm.
ABA was at the house.
Okay, we did both too. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it can wear you out. The very first speech therapist that we had, she was an older lady. She was kind. I don't even remember if he was at an age where he was supposed to speak. I just know that he wasn't. He was a toddler.
Hmm.
But he's always been like, if he vibes with you, he's gonna latch on to you. If he
Same
doesn't,
thing.
he's like, right? And
Right.
she came over. We had 2 appointments. She came over. He just didn't want anything to do with her. We were just like, this isn't working. There's just no
Yeah.
connection. And then he had one other one a couple of years later, and I won't say her name. Let's say her name was, I don't know, Maria. That wasn't the name. And
Hmm.
even though he was verbal, he would speak in parts. So he would say, "You want to see Maria?" No. And
Right.
the therapy didn't take place alone because it was, and this was ABA. So
Hmm.
as you know, ABA is done with the parent so the parent can learn how to implement it in the absence
And
of the therapist. So it
right.
wasn't even like she had an opportunity to do anything abusive or anything like that. She was cool. She was actually a sweetheart, but he was just like, no. And so that didn't work. But I remember those times where you're like, we're going to this appointment, going to that one, and it's just so overwhelming. And like you said, they're working a
Yeah.
9 to 5. And now looking back on it, I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, that's kind of crazy. You're so busy doing something, you don't realize how much you're doing.
Oh no, it was a lot. And then once he started like school, because he was able to get in school, so you're doing school half a day. On top of that, it was a lot. It was a lot. I mean, I'll say luckily I do have a decent, good village family that's supported, but it
Hmm.
was a lot, man. And then you're still trying
Yeah.
to learn different resources and stuff like that at the same time. It's very, I will say, it's overwhelming at in the beginning because you're
Yes.
still learning, but you got to live in the moment and
Hmm.
do everything at the same time. But then you still got to go to work. You still got to maintain your life, your mental health. It's like it's just like running, and somebody just throwing stuff at you constantly, and you're like, when am I going to get a
Exactly.
break?
Right. And
I'm
it's hot.
dodging. It's
And it's hot
hot.
too. Yeah. Yeah.
So
And you just gave me a thought here. I want to anyone within the sound of my voice, anyone that's hearing this, just remember, especially if you have a child on the spectrum diagnosed at a young age, 2 or 3, and let's say they're 10 or older, stop for a second, especially if you're having a tough day, and
oh
think
yeah.
about what you've been through so you can acknowledge how far you've come and give yourself grace. Because if you're
Hmm.
listening to us right now, it means that you've survived every challenge that's been put in front of you, because you wouldn't be here if you hadn't survived it. And if you can survive it, then it means that there's at least a shot that you can get to a point where you thrive. And I think sometimes we're just so busy doing what we do, we don't even realize that. And that was
Hmm.
something that just hit me today. Because again, you forget. You Einstein has a saying, or had a saying, that we can't solve a problem at the same level of consciousness at which it occurs. So when you're in the middle of the storm, you don't have any idea. You got to step outside every now and then. And so I'm thankful
Right.
for that. So you've been playing ball, you're going through early intervention and everything. Tell us about the bridge between that and then you're playing in the Special Olympics in Brunei. Tell us about the path to that, at least.
Yeah. So during that time where we get the diagnosis, I'm just working. 511 hoops is not even on the mind. I'm just
Right.
son, work. That's
What
it.
kind of work were you doing at
Still,
the time?
man, I had so many different jobs. Because I still want to play basketball. So I wasn't even looking
Yeah.
for anything like there were some decent jobs. I worked as a center director at a park. I had some other jobs. I was like, this honestly, in between that time, I was able to figure out that I think me working a 9 to 5 isn't going to work. Two things. One,
Right.
it just didn't sit right with me. Two, I had a situation where I had to get my son to therapy, and I was like, I gotta leave early, and they gave me so much slack to leave early, and I
Yeah.
was just, and I'm literally looking at the guy like, hey, I have to leave at this time, and he's like, no, 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 and I almost was about to just walk off, and when they eventually was like, yeah, you can leave. I told myself I never want somebody to be the deciding
The
factor.
thumb. Yes.
Yeah, to tell me when I can leave, this and that for my kids or family or anything. I said it doesn't sit right with me. And
Hmm.
this is a me thing. I always feel I can do the work just as good or better than the boss. So that's just the whole thing with me.
Yeah.
So
So you're a great entrepreneur and a horrible employee.
yeah, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
terrible.
that means a lot for us, because it's important for us in the caregiving community to have an entrepreneurial mindset, because not for the sake of wealth. I mean, that's not a bad thing, but that's not
Yeah,
as important as, first and foremost, the flexibility that you need as a caregiver. You know what I mean? I
and that
remember
was
I
yeah.
I heard that Mark Cuban said that he would rather work for himself for $50,000 a year than work for someone else for millions a year. If you think about that, that makes all the sense in the world. Yeah. So I came to that realization myself too. That's part of my story also.
Hmm.
We need that flexibility, and I've been blessed in countless ways to be able to do that and have that flexibility. It's just something else you kind of forget in terms of your journey and progress. But anyway,
Hmm.
go ahead. So you had to multiple jobs. You got to leave. You
Yeah.
came to the realization. Go ahead.
So fast forward, the same person that got me the gig that I wasn't able to take. I was going to go to Australia. That same guy was like, "Hey, are you still looking to play?" He kind of knew the situation was going. Said, "I got an
Yeah.
opportunity for you. Get you some updated film. It's a short stint, about 2 months." I'm like, "Okay, this is perfect." So
Hmm.
go out there and play. Um, love Brunei. I mean, beautiful country, very slow. Just you're able to reset and reflect because a lot of stuff is censored there.
Was that your
Um,
first time outside of the U.S. then?
No, 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 no. I've been outside the U.S. before, but I had never been to Asia, so that was my first time.
Okay. Where,
So
where did
while
you?
there,
Where was the first place you went? I'm sorry. I know I'm all over the
oh
place.
no, you're all good.
That's
You're
what I.
good.
That's what I mean by misdiagnosed.
Yeah, no. First place I've been to as a kid, I went to Jamaica. Then I've been to Mexico. I went to
Okay.
England. So yeah, I did a little bit of traveling prior.
Hmm. Okay.
But while there, the coach he was like, "Hey, I want to connect you with the guy. He has like a sports academy, but they do something with the Special Olympics once a month."
Okay.
He was like, "I think it'd be good for you to go. You know, help him coach the event, whatever." So connect with the guy. The day of the thing, he's like, "Hey, you could facilitate it," and I'm just like, "Oh." So I literally just threw out your basic fundamental drills. I said,
Right.
um, and it was a group of like 8 to 10 kids, and they had fun. I found that I was good with socializing and explaining things with them. And it was a wide range. We
Hmm.
had little ones and we had some older kids. And
Yeah.
I remember one of the parents was like, "Hey, are you still going to be here coaching? I love the way how you handle the kids." And I was like, "No, I'm only going to be here for a couple of weeks. We got a couple more games." And I said, "I'm heading back." But I was like, just like you, I have a son who's on the spectrum and all that
Hmm.
stuff. So that kind of lit that light bulb. And I went back to my room that day and I'm looking for stuff back here. I'm like, okay, what sports programs is in Los Angeles? So I'm finding very few. There was like something in Orange County. They had a league, but it wasn't year round. And then I
Right.
found some other thing in the South Bay. It was led by BCBAs. So it's kind of like social skills in sports, but the cost
Hmm.
was about 800 a month. And I said, hold on,
Oh my
there's no
gosh. Yes.
there's no way. And I know insurance is not covering it. So
Right.
I started looking in your middle income, working class neighborhoods. I'm like, there's nothing here. And if it is, it's a 1 day event. It may be for a month. And it didn't sit right with me. I said, so
Right.
how are they supposed to have the same opportunity as a kid that just wants to go have sports? And either these sports programs don't have the support or it's not just a program designated for them. And I
Hmm.
said, as a parent, I'm trying to find something for my son as well. So I
Hmm.
said, you know what? I know basketball. Um, I see that I could work with the population. 'Cause I already got, a good like compliment from a parent. Start jotting down some ideas. I called two of my buddies. All they said was, "Man, that's a dope idea." Came up with the
Hmm.
name 511. This is my son's birthday. So 5 is
Oh,
for
okay.
May, 11's for the day he was born, and the year is 2011.
Right.
Drafted that out. Honestly, as soon as I came home, I made a post on Facebook, made some flyers. He went to speech therapy. I dropped them off. I said, "Can I leave these in the front?" And they said, "Sure." And then start getting some calls slowly and surely. And then different, like I started just walking into speech therapy centers, OT. I was like, "Can I leave these flyers here?" There's one organization to this day I still work with. He's an adult now. I work with their son. She had a Christmas party, so she does like a
Hmm.
support group. I just walked
Right.
in there, introduced myself, and I was just on the ground, like really just cold calling, going to different places and sharing what I did. And
Hmm.
it was kind of like a domino effect,
Right.
word of mouth, and then got kind of a little bit of buzz, and then start getting a little bit of grants here. Then got some stuff on TV through the grace of God. Just was able to connect with the right people. So we had different segments on. My first one was NBA TV, was on
Hmm.
ABC 7, CBS. Um, and then once the regional center started this social recreation funding, this was what was it 2025? So
Hmm.
about 2020, a little after the pandemic, I jumped right on it. I said, let's get vendor. And I want to make this free for the families. I don't want them paying anything. Um,
Right.
so got vendor with one regional center, then led to being vendor with two other regional centers because we still service that catchment area. And then
Hmm.
right now we're vendored with I think five. We're working on one more.
Hmm.
Um, so we're vendor for individual basketball lessons, anything group classes that we do, and camps. So our families don't pay anything, and even if they're
What?
not with the regional center,
No. Hmm.
oh, I'm sorry. Um,
No, no, no. You good. I'm sorry. You
they're
were talking.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. They're I just say you're on scholarship. You don't got to pay nothing.
Wow. That's fantastic.
Uh,
Which regional centers, if you don't mind me asking that?
yeah, so we're with Harbor Regional Center, West Side
Okay.
Regional Center, Frank D. Lanterman, East LA, South
Oh,
Central,
Lanterman. Okay.
and we're working on Inland Regional Center right now.
Okay. All right. My son is with West Valley, and I know a lot of families in Lanterman because that is where we were before, and I think that more of
Hmm.
them need to know because there's services that are available. Again, I'm this advocate and got a podcast and all this kind of stuff, and I'm still finding out about things that we have access to with the local regional center that I wasn't aware of because, to their
Yeah.
credit, what happens anytime you have people dealing with bureaucracies and organizations, depending on who you keep time with, you'll have people that'll tell you things like there's this problem and that problem. If you're not careful, you can get a negative connotation with regard to the regional center or school district. And some of it is
Right.
well founded. I get it. But I
Hmm.
realized recently that it kind of tainted my thinking because the last couple of appointments we've had with my son's caseworker with the regional center, not only are there things that we don't know about, it seems like they've been going through a lot of expansion lately in terms of what they offer. So, and some people have had difficult experiences with them in terms of getting access to care and things like that. So,
Hmm.
I understand that some people might have a bad experience, but you know, don't cut the regional center short. I think
Oh
that's a
no.
that's a that's a fantastic thing. That's great.
Yeah, you can't cut. I mean, at the end of the day, sometimes you may have a bad experience, but what I tell a lot of parents, you just got to you have to keep fighting. You'll get your answer, but you got to keep fighting because the reality is, I say a caseworker has a caseload of 100 people,
At
and
least.
there's a lot of different changes with the regional center. So I do have understand like they have a lot going on. There's different changes. There's just so much going on the regional center side and the state side that they're
Hmm.
constantly doing different changes. And I understand as parents, we want answers right now. And it's kind of like, why
Yeah.
aren't you responding? But you just got to keep fighting. You'll get it, but you got to you got to know the different steps to get the responses. You may have to go to someone above that or above that, and you got to complain. I hate to say it, but you got to
Yeah.
turn into that person, but you'll get a response when you do it.
Yeah. Yeah. You do. You have to make sure that no stone is left unturned, and you can't
Hmm.
just give up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And compassion goes a long way too
Oh
in
yeah.
keeping understanding. So where are things at now, and where do you see things in the next 4 or 5 years for
Hmm.
511 Hoops?
Man, we're growing. We are growing a lot. I mean, we're getting new participants, left and right, different calls. Um, Trying to expand, create some new different programs. And right now, we're at this weird gray space where we got to get our own space. So throughout this whole time, we've either operated outside or we rent from a facility, but
Hmm.
we're always working within the times that's available. We need to be operating Monday through Saturday
On
to
your time,
really
yeah.
on my time, so we could really make the impact that we should. So we do have a gala November 1st at the City Club in downtown LA. And those
Okay, let me make sure
funds
of
that
that.
are
Yep.
going to be raised that day is going to be used to acquire a space for our first space. We want to have a space, our first one in the Long Beach Compton area to start, just
Hmm.
because that's an underserved area. And
Right.
then that's going to be I want to have a sports therapy center. So we want to have a gym, we want to have some classrooms, and eventually
Hmm.
partner with speech therapists or OT so they can operate inside of our space and just kind of
Hmm.
create this one-stop shop for families to get their therapeutics. Oh, and ABA, center-based ABA, to get their therapeutic services, but as well
Hmm.
as your sports and enrichment programs. And I think that kind of alleviates the parents from doing all that driving around. And at the same time, it
Yeah.
builds um, just creating a safe space for our participants. And then eventually, we would like to do the same thing, copy that model, because we have a site in Santa Monica. So we want to have something on the west side, Santa
Hmm.
Monica, Mar Vista, Culver City for those families. And then eventually, once I see how this goes, it's okay. Let's try to expand to other areas throughout Southern California. Eventually, go through all about California and be vendored from all the way down to San Diego to up north. And then we could like you said, see how that goes, and then let's start working state to state, and
There you
then
go.
internationally. So I want to be my overall vision is to see this something like the Special Olympics, the Boys and Girls Club, the YMCA, but on a
Right.
worldwide,
On a
um,
global level. Yeah.
global level. That's the goal, um, and that's because I just think if we can, I want to change the dynamic of what sports and therapy looks like for
Hmm.
this population and create different, hopefully we can figure out new ways on how to do therapy. I think I'm all about innovation. Sometimes
Right.
stuff is not even useful now. This is based on old research. And I think a lot of,
Right.
I like to tell people, meet the client where they're at, find what their interests, and then you use that to work on whatever you're working on. So
Exactly.
that's part of it. And
The
then um, I would love to do a school too. I would love
okay.
to have a school. Um, I'm big on education, and I think
Yeah.
education for sped students are it's a little outdated. That's just my
Very.
personal thing. I
Yeah.
just think
Yeah.
it should be different. I think the beginning of the day should be physical activity,
Hmm.
um, exerting some of that energy, getting the body moving, and then you can jump into your instructional stuff. But instruction shouldn't have to be sitting at a desk all day. If you want to be
Yeah.
outside
Yeah.
doing class, laying on the grass, do it.
Hmm. The
Even if it's, I'm sorry, yeah.
no, it's okay. I was just like the Santa Monica location. Is that a space that you're renting as well? Then
All outside. That's yes. We've been outside the whole time. We was at a
okay.
center. They had a parking lot. They let us operate there. And now we're just at a park outside. And
Okay.
it's cool. The weather's good now, but once it get cold, Santa Monica gets
Yeah.
really cold.
Yeah.
So
Right by the ocean. Yeah.
and it kind of it hurts us because it we may take a week off, or then sometimes we may take 2 weeks off because of the weather, and
And you're
it
thrown
just
off. Yeah.
thrown off the
Yeah.
routine, and I don't like that for
Yeah.
the
To
participants
the
because
kids. Yeah.
they're looking forward to it, and even some of our
Yeah.
adults, like my oldest is 60 something years old over there, and he
That's
enjoys it, and I don't like
fantastic.
to throw people off like something they're looking
Right.
forward to doing. So
Let me.
that's the. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, you keep saying sorry. I keep interrupting you because I'm just so excited. I'm sorry about that. I
That's
apologize.
all good.
But I want to give everything the flowers that it deserves. The gala itself. Is there a website or is there a portion of your website where people can register or get tickets?
Yeah, so if you go to www.511hoops.org /events, you'll have the information for the gala. Once you click the link, it'll redirect it to the ticketing website. And it gives you all we have tickets, we have sponsorship packages. You can do a
Oh, okay.
program ad, you could sponsor a table.
Very
So
good,
yeah,
brother.
so right on there, yeah. So all the
Okay.
information's on there and everything.
Okay. So then when you click on the ticket and sponsorship packages,
Hmm.
let's see. It doesn't. You can see as it opens up. Oh, it takes you to Eventbrite,
Yeah, Eventbrite, yeah.
and then you see the various packages and everything. Okay, that's
Correct, yeah.
fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so inspired by just this conversation and everything,
Appreciate it.
so far. So, other than yourself, what does your staff look like? How many people do you have?
We have about 10, 12 people. So in Santa Monica, we have four coaches there. Over
Hmm.
here, Compton and Long Beach is kind of like together. So I'm sorry, I got to count in my head. So we have,
That's okay.
it's like five or six uh, coaches, program manager. Um,
Hmm.
we have a community engagement coordinator. So she works virtual. I have a case manager and my assistant, she's virtual as well. So got a decent sized team and still trying to add some more pieces. We're just waiting for some different funding to
Gotcha.
pull through so we can add
Hmm.
those other pieces and then that can definitely help us grow and expand and everything else.
Okay. And then you said your son is 14 now.
14 years old, yep.
Okay. Is he your only child?
No, no, I have a daughter. So a 14-year-old son and I have an 11-year-old daughter.
Okay, so they're close together. What was that like for her learning about his diagnosis and everything? Because we've had conversations also
Oh,
about how do you love equally but differently because each child needs something different and making sure that your neurotypical child
mhm.
doesn't feel left out or less than favored.
um, it's crazy. Uh, Something I talked about with some of my family. So it affected her. I will say it did.
Mhm.
Just because, and I had to somebody had to tell me something. I had to take a step back and be like, I'm putting so much on my son that I know she's getting ignored and it wasn't her fault.
Right.
Um, so I was able to kind of scale back and learning how to manage that time to make sure each person is getting what they need. And even like just letting my
Mhm.
son know, hey, you need to wait your needs need to be put on hold. I'm with your sister right now. And
Hmm.
having her hear that, I think helps her because it's like before it was you'll be doing something. Oh, let me hold on. I gotta go do something for your brother. So you always feel second.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and this was at a young age. And I saw how it affected her personality and
Hmm.
different stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And so you have to really sit back and you understand. And as she got a little older, we had a conversation. Because I remember one time she was like, she was younger. She's like, oh, I want therapy. Why can't I have therapy? Or why don't I have
Yeah.
autism? And
Autism. I want autism, right?
I want autism. And I'm just like, oh, snap. And I was like, it's because you see all the attention that he's getting.
That
So
comes with
you
it.
feel like I need that to get that love and attention. But it definitely I'm glad I was able to catch on and now she's good, man. Just like we have open dialogue and I let her know,
Yeah.
like, you tell me if you need something. I said it's all about communication. Let me know
Right.
if you're not receiving anything. If you felt like I put you on the back burner for something, let me know. So
Hmm.
she knows she could talk to me about anything if there's any questions about autism. And I still have these questions
Yeah.
of like, how do you feel that your brother has this? Like, I know it affected her because they're close in
Hmm.
age. They're 3 years
Right.
apart. Any siblings that are
Right.
3 years apart, that's your best friend. You're supposed to be
Yeah.
doing everything, and they do play, but I do think she wants that to be like, let's go do everything. You know what I mean? It's like big
Right.
brother. But I think
There's a
she
gap.
understands, and there's a gap. She understands, but
Yeah.
I definitely let her know that you're there you can help your brother. I say always look out for your brother, but it's not for you to be a parent. You don't have to be the
Right.
shadow, and when he's doing something, you got to say something. So we was able
Yeah.
to work through that too, because she felt like she had to let me know every time he was doing something. I was like, hold on now.
Yeah,
You could
because
be
it
a
gets in the
kid.
way of them being exactly. It gets in the way
Being
of
a
them
kid.
being a kid, and the time will come. Well, you need to be able to lean on her,
Hmm.
and quite frankly, each family dynamic is different. You know, in my work in financial services, we talk about short and long term savings, retirement, life insurance, and then your estate plan and all that kind of stuff too. And
Hmm.
what that generally means is your thought about what's hopefully further out, which is who's going to be there to take care of your child when you pass away. And if there's a
Hmm.
sibling, provided that they're open, you've had the right conversation, this is a whole nother show altogether. But some families
Yeah.
have an understanding where they do that by choice. Other families are like, well, we don't want to put that on the sibling, but
Right.
you don't even have the choice if she feels so robbed of a childhood, robbed of the proper love and attention, then they're not willing to step in and help on an interim basis or even on a permanent one when you're going away. In
Hmm.
addition to the fact that they just need to be seen and heard too.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Totally agree.
That's something else. Um, wow, that I just have so much of an appreciation for everything about this conversation. I expected us to have a good conversation here today, and in getting ready for the show, our communication has been so, you know, short and hit and miss because we've both been
Right.
so busy that I didn't have a full grasp of how great this was going to be. I thought I did, but my expectations have been completely exceeded, and my wheels are turning now in terms of ways that we can work together and the amount of people that we can help, impact, and inspire. This is just I'm loving every minute of this.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, most definitely. We're a little ahead of the portion of the show where I usually ask the following question, but I am, as always, but especially today, really interested and curious as to what your answer is going to be to the following question, which you usually
Mm.
ask around this time, which is our ability to change the world is tied to our ability or our willingness to change ourselves, right? So give us
Mhm.
just one example of a thought or a belief that you once believed real strongly, but no longer believe to be true.
Uh, I think one is success doesn't always equal money. I
Hmm.
think growing up, I think for me it was like, okay, you got to make this certain amount of money so you can live this life and you'll be happy.
Right.
It's it's like yes, but I don't think that's 100% true. I think success
Right.
for me is in the work that I'm doing, the impact I'm making sure my kids are happy. That's success for me. Finding
Mm.
my peace and authentically being myself is success for me. And I think for me, once I'm able to, I understood all of that, the money stuff is going to come because you're doing the right thing. You're living authentically yourself. That's going to come. It's whatever,
Right.
but you got to be true to yourself and making sure those around you that you're being a good example and making that impact, and everything else kind of falls in line.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree completely. I think that, part of, doing the show and developing and having that question, I think that's something that people should ask themselves on a daily basis. Because I've always said, there's no wrong answer. Sometimes your answer is, I used to like anchovies on a pizza, now I don't. That's
Right.
not really deep, but that's okay. And if your answer is, I don't, if you're 30 years old and your answer is, I don't have a thought or a belief that I no longer believe, then you would just might need to, dig a little, ask some questions. And, it's again why questions I think are undervalued.
Hmm.
And they're so important. Well, we're just about that time. It always goes by fast, especially when
Right.
conversations are this meaningful. Stacy, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to be here today. Once we do sign off, stick around just for a couple extra minutes if you don't mind. Thank you so much. Again, everyone, it is 511hoops.com and the website
Oh,
is
.org.
five.
I'm sorry.
I did say .com. Yeah, no, don't be sorry. That's correct.
I
Yeah, people will be telling me I didn't find it. I didn't find it.
didn't
No,
find it. Right.
511hoops.org. That is the number 5, the word 11, the word hoops.org. And you will find the website there, access to the programs, as well as the opportunity to register for the upcoming gala on November 1st, for which proceeds will be donated will go towards um, the purchase of the organization's first facility. Stacy, thank you so much for being here today, man. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate having me.
And to everyone within the sound of my voice, remember, everyone needs to be seen, needs to be heard, needs to be loved, and needs to know that they matter. We have a lot more in common than we do otherwise. Let's try and be a little bit more childlike and less childish. Again, our partner, Billy Footwear. If you click on the link, which will be in the show notes, you get a discount on your final price from your purchase of Billy Footwear. Billy Footwear are the makers of adaptable footwear for everyone. If you are a dad or a male caregiver or father to someone with a disability, um, special needs, or is neurodivergent, consider joining us for our bi-weekly conversation in the Den. That is a men's group, a support group. And I should tell you really quickly, when I first heard of men's support group or a men's group, I thought the former firm that I was with, they had a men's group. And my first reaction was, I'm not sitting around any campfire with a bunch of dudes trying to see the biggest kill and who could push out a beer the fastest. That's what I thought. But there were things that I learned about just how men communicate or don't communicate, unfortunately, where women have
Hmm.
these outlets. And I began to think, if it's important for parents or men with neurotypical children to have a space, it's probably twice as important and hard to find for a man who is a caregiver. So therefore, that's where the Den came about. My good friend Brian Altunian came up with the name. The Den is the place in the home where you sit and relax and everything. Anyway, we meet bi-weekly on Zoom. Registration will be in the show notes. Registration is free to everyone within the sound of my voice, whether you're listening to us on podcast platforms or watching us on YouTube or on WSCX AM radio in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Thank you so very much for joining us. We love you, and we'll see you soon. Thank you for joining us on Just Two Dads.